Hola Queens, it's your girl Queen T here, also known as the one and only fiance coach. If you're tuning into my YouTube channel, welcome. Shout out to my Fiance Diaries podcast subscribers. We have been growing. I welcome you. I send you love. My YouTube subscribers, shout out to you as well because you've been rocking with me since 2017, 2018. Welcome. I love all of you. But specifically, my podcast subscribers, I hope that you found the podcast platforms helpful. I realized that a lot of times we're on the go, and I knew that I had to just put this information on podcast platforms because it's something that you can continue to indulge in your activities day by day, but also just listen to the information rather than having to stay put in one location. So the goal is for me to continue to upload on YouTube and on podcasts. But YouTube, I can't promise that I'm always feel like putting my face on all the time. But if I feel moved that a topic needs to be dropped, you might want to also subscribe to that Fiance Diaries podcast to make sure you don't miss out on anything. Okay? That's all I'm saying. The goal is to upload on both. But y'all know how I get. If I don't feel like I ain't looking like I want to look today, I might not get on. That's hey. Don't come for me for wanting to present myself in a fashionable manner. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to y'all about what about your friends. And as I said in the opening of the Fiance Diaries podcast, you're probably wondering, well, what about my friends, T? What do my friends have to do with my kingdom marriage? And I'm here to let you know that they have a lot more to do with your kingdom marriage than you think, in the aspect of not actually helping you get your kingdom marriage, because that work is all you and that work is all the Holy Spirit and God. That's something totally separate. But we have to remember that we have people that are a part of our lives before we actually got into those marriages, and the information that we share with them can either shake, break, or make the friendship, to be honest with you. I actually went through a season where some things just really transpired that I wasn't expecting to happen. And, I just put things in God's hands, and I realized some mistakes that I made and things I shouldn't have done and things that I could have done more of. And it just made me realize, this is a lot more important than I thought it was. All these years, I'm thinking about, man, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to meet my kingdom bae. And not even realizing that a lot of the people that I thought would be in my life on this day are not here, or they're here, but I don't have the same connection with them that I used to. And things just really took a turn. And if you're not prepared for it, it can kind of cause you to feel a bit down. It can cause you to stay in this drought and feel you'll be questioning a lot of things that took place. You finally got the kingdom marriage, but you're wondering, like, what happened? Like, what did I miss? And I hope that this is something you're thinking about now, whether you're engaged, whether you've been in this committed relationship for 3+ years now and you're working towards it. Do not neglect this topic because it is important. A few weeks ago, if you were tracking, there was an episode that I dropped called A Safe Space. And I know in that video, I mentioned something about friends, and I said I didn't want to get into it because it's so much deeper than we think, ladies. It's so much deeper than we think. In A Safe Space, I talked about how you're required to provide this safe space for your future husband, this person that you're building a kingdom marriage with, this person that you're praying to God that you get to be with for the rest of your life. And I talked about the things that they share with you, the things that your future bae shares with you, that he expects you to protect and keep sacred and secret in a way. We have these best friends that we have, right? Because we're like best friends to the end. That's my best friend. If he act up, we going to jump you. We going to pop up. Don't act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. You have friends. You have girlfriends that you can call up. You have girlfriends that were there when you were going through your droughts of singleness the ones that helped you stay motivated, the ones that reminded you that you were called, you were purposed, you were ordained. Yes, they are your friends. And a lot of times we get really, really comfortable with our friends, especially as women. We feel like we can share everything with our friends. Sometimes, I hate to say it, we use our friends as therapists, and it's not fair to them. It's also not fair for, I'm sure you probably have some friends that use you as a therapist, and we have to be honest with our friends. And I didn't even expect to say this, but if you have any friends that you feel like come to you with a lot of things that you're concerned about with their mental health, it doesn't necessarily mean they need medicine. Maybe you recognize some depressive states that they go through, or anxiety, anxious moments that they're always bringing up. You should really suggest or recommend your friend to get a therapist, especially in the minority communities, that being African American and Latinas. They tend to not go to therapists, but I'm telling you that you are not a therapist. Your friends are not your therapist. If you have some things going on and you feel like they're constantly coming to you, maybe you need to recommend that they see a therapist. But back to today's topic, your future bae, he may have already shared information with you, or he is starting to open up to you. And we think that it's so innocent. We go to our friends because we told our friends everything about us. So we assume that we can tell them everything about our bae. I'm here to tell you that you cannot do that. You cannot do that, and you should not do that. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer. If you're in a unhealthy, abusive relationship where you know for a fact God has told you gotta go, then you need to listen to somebody or talk to someone. However, we're talking about purposeful kingdom marriages, not perfect marriages, not perfect relationships. These are relationships that you know for a fact God has spoken to you about. There are things that you should not be sharing with your friends about your future bae, about mistakes that he's made, about things from his childhood, about things that he's done. You should not be talking to your friends about that. You should be talking to either a counselor about that, or you should be, number one, you should be talking to your Lord and Savior about that. And here's why. When you get into a disagreement with your future bae, your kingdom husband, because it will happen, you will get into disagreements, that you will have moments where you're going to be asking yourself, who is this man? You're going to want to hit God up and be like, Jesus, I need instructions for this man. What 1-800 number to hit up? Hello. Those moments will happen. I'm telling you, because we're all human, and no man, no woman is perfect. The last thing that you need to do, and I'm saying the last thing, not the first, because if you are like me, the first thing I used to do was pick up the phone and call my best friends at the time. And I would tell them everything. I would hold nothing back. I was just in a distressed moment at times and didn't know what to do. In those moments, I felt that my friends were there to rescue me. And yes, it was a temporary relief. But when they weren't there, I still had to go to God to talk about it. And I realized, man, I should have went to God first, because if I went to God first, I should have gotten my thoughts together, and I should have really pondered on, okay, if I still needed to talk to my friends about the situations. And I will tell you, ladies, that there were some things that I shared that have either rubbed some friendships the wrong way or have made me lose friends. And this, I'm not even saying this is from my marriage. This is from me dating in previous marriage, not previous marriages, God forbid, in previous engagements, in previous situationships. My thing was, I always was so quick to pick up the phone and call up a girlfriend and tell her, girl, you can't believe he did this. Girl, you can't believe he did that. Now, here's why. Because some of you are saying, well, that's what friends are for. Friends are supposed to be supportive. Friends are supposed to be with you through thick and thin. Here's the thing about us women. We tend to be upset with our men in the moment, But as time goes on, it softens. And all of a sudden, we're ready to forgive them. But guess who hasn't forgiven them? Our friends. They don't have that connection that you have with your boo or bae. They just don't. They are protective of you. To be honest, their relationship with your future boo or bae is conditional on how they treat you. I'm going to say that again. Their relationship with your future boo or bae is conditional based on how they treat you. As soon as he does something wrong, they're giving him strikes. And some of them will only, depending on what type of friend it is, they will give him one strike and that's it. You come back talking about him and being with him, they're never going to accept him. They're never going to forget what you shared with them. And then you have to think about, if you decide to continue to be with this person and you go to the future cookouts and the future outings or events where your future boo or bae gets to meet your friends, if you have friends that are very direct and blunt, you have no idea what they're going to say. You have no idea what they're going to say at all. And that's why I'm here to warn you. What about your friends? You have to be careful with the information you are sharing with your friends about your future husband. It is your duty to protect him. If you say that you want to marry this man, you need to act in that manner today. You don't start acting in that manner the day that you say I do. You start protecting him from the day that you ask God for permission to be with him. This is something that it's almost like you have to prove in a way to God. Yes, you do have to prove in a way to God that you're worthy of marrying his son. A lot of us women like to say, oh, I'm the prize, I'm the favor. Yes, God does say in the word that we give men favor, us being with them. However, these are God-ordained kings. These aren't just men that are off the streets. These men have a purpose. These men are from the same Lord that you're from. So do not look down on them. Do not think that you're the sugar honey iced tea and they're just dirt. No, they were created just the way you were created, except you came from their rib. So don't undermine God's kings. And with not undermining God's kings comes, don't be so open to your girlfriends that you're sharing everything that this man is being open with you about, that you're sharing every mistake that this man has made with you. Don't do that unless you're certain that you're done with him. If you're not certain that you're done with him, if you're really angry in the moment, my advice to you and recommendation is that you take a moment. First of all, turn the phone off. Turn the phone off because the enemy loves to play. You know how our girlfriends got radar. They'll text you like, hey girl, what you up to? While you upset, I advise that you turn the phone off for an hour. Turn the phone off for an hour. Get in a quiet space. If you need to cry, if you need to yell, do what you got to do. But you need to talk to God about whatever just occurred, because your initial reaction to it is not going to be a godly reaction, because we're human and we tend to get very emotional about things. We tend to take things very personal, even when we don't want to. So turn the phone off, homegirl. Turn the phone off. Second, get in a quiet space. Get in a quiet space where you can just kind of like meditate, pray, grab the Bible. Just open the Bible up. Whatever book it lands on, just start reading. Just get yourself in this place of zen so that you don't react with your first reaction. My first reaction always used to be call up my girlfriends, because I'm about to, if they don't answer the phone, I'm about to throw stuff around this place. And that is not a healthy place to be in. It just honestly tells how toxic my thinking was and my upbringing, things that I had seen in relationships. I talk about this in my book, 3 Rings and a Promise, but about my parents. And I don't shame my parents. I don't want people to think that I'm ashamed of my parents. I'm not ashamed of my parents, because no one taught them either. No one taught them. They didn't have a relationship with Christ when they were young. So these are things that we have to think about when we're talking about the things that we saw in our parents. Did our parents have the relationship with Christ? And not that we're any better, but we're supposed to we're basically the legacy of our parents. Everything that they should have had, we should be achieving it and showing them that I'm your blood. I'm no better than you. Because I did it, that means you did it too. And it just should be like that. But your reaction, initial reaction, do not pick that phone up and call your homegirl, because you're thinking that that's going to make you feel better. It's not going to make you feel better. If you have a ride or die homegirl, she going to be ready to roll. Okay? If you got a homegirl that's going to be like, let's get ready to pray, that's a good homegirl. But that homegirl's still human. She will also try to remind you of things in the future when things are going well. That she can also, try to throw fuel to the fire unconsciously and unintentionally. And that's why I said a safe space a few weeks ago, and I kind of lightly mentioned about the information you share with your girlfriends. You really have to be careful, because things like that can make, break, or just separate your friendships. And sadly, I've lost some friendships that I really just look back and think of, man, like, what could I have done better? What should I have not done? When you start to miss people, you just do. And then you go through seasons where, things have changed. Especially, you'll notice that as you become married, if you have single homegirls, they'll start to feel like you're no longer available, or you don't have time for them, or you'll start to realize that you just start noticing the change. And I can say that because I was single, and all of my friends at the time were married, and I felt like, man, I don't want to talk to them about my single girl drama. Like, I don't want them looking down on me. I don't want them having pillow talk with their husband about me not being able to keep a relationship. Like, these are things that single women think about. Like, I was single, so I'm not going to sit right here and be fake with you. But are things that occur and will occur in your relationship, in your engagement, in your marriage, and you're probably going to want to pick up the phone and call your girlfriend. And I'm telling you, do not let that be your first thing. Do not let it be. And maybe, later you and your girlfriend may be talking about similar situations, and then you say, oh yeah, girl, I had something similar, and you're laughing about it, or you're just trying to relate to one another. But I pray that that's not in the moment when you're angry and when your emotions are all over the place, because once you share that information, you cannot take it back. You can't take it back. And you just always want to provide a protective environment for your future spouse. And you also want to respect your friendships. They may look at it as you're being secretive, you're hiding information from them, but honestly, you're protecting them, because it's like, look, I don't want to share anything with you about him that may make you upset. And then if I decide to forgive him, I don't want you to be upset with me about it. So you're respecting your friendships in a way. And that's why friendships are more important than we think they are when it comes to kingdom marriage, because kingdom marriage is different than the other marriage. See, we're not just talking about random marriages here. If you're just looking to get married and it's not about kingdom marriage, go ahead, share your business with your girlfriends. I really don't want you to, but go ahead, do what you got to do. But if you want a kingdom marriage, you got to go to the King of Kings first in order to get things in alignment in your household. And even before you're married, you should be practicing going to the King of Kings first before anything. Turn that phone off, get in a quiet space, get in a place of zen, open up your Bible if you have to, open up an old journal entry to remind you of the good times. Just get yourself in a good place where you can think things through clearly. Do not call your homegirls, your blunt homegirls that'll be ready to roll out on him, okay? Don't do that. Do not call your homegirls that will walk up to him at a cookout and curse him out in public. Do not call your mama. We're going to talk about a video about that too, about boundaries with family members. Don't call anybody that's going to be bold enough to call him, to text him, to do something that they're not in a place to do. This is your marriage. You and Christ and your future husband are in alignment, in a triangle, okay? God is here, you're there, future bae is there. There is no friends in the triangle. I'm sorry to say, ladies. You still have your friends, you still love them, you still respect them. And when they have their marriages, they should treat you the same. You all should respect what is the priority of each other's lives. And if they can't respect it, then you really need to pray about that friendship. All right, queens, that's my time. I hope that this video has been helpful. Let me know your feedback on this. Feel free to share this with some other queens. Just let me know your thoughts on this. This is real talk today. Like, this is not a light thing to talk about when it comes to me personally. But I felt like it was necessary to share because I like to keep it 100 and transparent. All right. Love y'all. Till next time. This is the Fiancé Coach connecting you to your true wife goals. Let's roll.